Please welcome to the stage Roger Ross Williams, director of Life. We can use that better.
Yes.
Roger Ross Williams.
Hi. So please welcome to the stage amazing Ron Suskind. Come on down, Ron.
It's going to be that kind of talk.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, he has to roll up his sleeves, so get ready.
Be like Oprah, we'll hug and cry. I'll go right up the aisle.
So I'm going to start with a question about what, I'm assuming Owen saw the film, what he thought, what was sort of his reaction to this film? How was that, what was the effect of the film?
So that's a whole little drama. So Owen saw the film in the fall, last fall, because we wanted him to see it when it was a rough cut. It was mostly done. It was pretty close. We went to New York, and it was just me and Owen, the two of us. And he, well, you know him now intimately. He's a guy, is a pretty cool cat, living in present tense most of the time. And so we're waiting in the elevator to go up to see the film at Motto Films in Brooklyn. And all of a sudden he's like, "Where's this elevator?" I'm like, "Geez, hey buddy, are you all right?" He's like, "Yeah. This is the hero's journey, right?" And at that point, I'm like, yes, because when he gets into that deep well, we're good. It's like talking to Joseph Campbell. And I'm like, yeah, and what do we know about the hero's journey? Yeah. Unless obstacles are thrown in his path, the qualities of the hero never emerge. Is it right? And all the obstacles are in this movie from your whole life. But how does it turn out? He says, with me, and I've emerged. And up we go in the elevator. Now, when they get up to Motto Films, we get on the third floor, they're all crazy. We're all crazy after a minute because
we were wrecked.
We're wrecked. We were wrecked.
We were wrecked because this is, if Owen didn't like this film, it's over.
There's no film. I mean, he could only tell the truth. So what would you like have to just close down, right? Close the shop.
Go out of business.
Yeah, go out of business.
So then
So Owen loved it. So we watched just the two of us alone in the theater in our little room while these guys waited out.
I was peeking through the door.
Yeah, right. Like the whole gang of them were outside. And when we got in the room, we're sitting on a couch. I have the remote. The lights go down. The screen fills, and he reaches across and grabs on my hand. And it's like we went into a slide into our deeper selves. And then that first scene came up of him as a baby. He's like, "Oh, that's me." And off we went. And after an hour and a half, he's like, "I love it."
He hugged me. Owen doesn't.
Yeah.
And he hugged me. That was the biggest.
Yeah, it was great. So Owen loved it, yeah. Now, Cornelia and Walter only saw it at Sundance for the first time.
With an audience of 800 people.
Yeah. That was by design. They discussed it, and that was their decision.
And how did you both meet and get involved in this? I mean, it's based on a best-selling novel. But how did you meet? Who saw each other out?
So we've known each other for 15 years. We worked together. I used to be a journalist, an ex-journalist. We worked together. Ex-journalist. Yeah. I had to get out of mainstream media. And we met at Nightline. Ron was a correspondent, I was a producer.
On ABC. So Roger was my guy, my producer. We sort of were ginning stuff up in the early aughts, 2001.
And I did a bunch of pieces about, I did Cornelia, meeting how her parents met. Her parents met under the Biltmore clock, and I did a piece about that. I did a piece about Owen learning to ride a bike. I even worked on Owen's bar mitzvah.
Yeah, Roger did it.
As a favor.
So Roger now is an honorary Jew. So it's it's a nice program. He gets free dental. We got a lot of dentists. We're good there.
But I'm like their in-house documentarian. So Ron came to me when he was writing the book.
Yeah, right before it was done. It was about 3 or 4 months before. And Roger just finished an amazing movie which you can get on Netflix, right? God Loves Uganda, which is an extraordinary piece of work. And Roger was kind of finishing with that, and we had lunch, or breakfast rather, in Boston.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, the stars of the line, let's do this thing we do. And then Roger immediately goes out to Riverview, the school, and starts filming Owen. And it was immediate.
It was the Valentine's Day dance.
Right.
And it was really
With
emotional.
Emily,
And then
yeah.
I did this little thing of you and Owen doing lines from The Lion King.
Right, Mufasa and Simba.
Yes.
Simba, you are more than what you become. Owen, though, of course, he does it much better than me because he can go for hours, every line. Yeah, that's how it started.
I think there must be some questions from the audience, so we're going to start right here in the front.
Well, it was amazing. All day today I taught an autistic classroom.
Wow.
Yes, and
Can
so
you say
I
your
had to
name
see-
and talk really loud?
Yeah, my name is Claire Beach.
Hi,
and
Claire.
I'm a filmmaker and also a teacher.
Wow.
And I've been studying, and I love. Okay,
Go for it, yeah.
it was amazing. I mean, I have learned by I've worked with some nonverbal autistic kids, and they're really high on the spectrum. And they're a gift. They're a gift from heaven to
Yeah.
chest our compassion.
Yeah.
And what I saw was these little moments where the kids were talking, they were doing gibberish, but there was something going on.
Yeah.
And Lion King was a part of it.
Really?
It
That's
was
so cool.
We get all the little cubs together,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he was always told to sit down. So you could go, just sit down, just sit down. So
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, it's the love that comes from them. So that is so filled with love. You really captured things. You guys were so honest. So you changed the whole way people look at autism.
Wow.
So thank you so much.
Thank you,
Beautiful
Claire.
job.
And that's part of the hope, I guess. Owen changes when the autism hits him at 3, but the book and the movie is much about how we all change.
Yes, exactly.
As Walter says Owen was my best teacher. And that goes for everybody. Hear this left behind, discarded kid, silent for years, ends up teaching us, I think, just about everything that we value. And I think that's a great lesson for all the times we look through people, is that they don't exist, right through them. And Owen sees that, and that's part of why we did this. When he's around 19, his awareness was growing, and he started to say, people don't see me for who I am. He could see, they look at him long enough often to look away. He's doing something, or he's talking to himself, and he's like, I am an unpolished gem. I'm a diamond in the rough. What movie's that from, right? Aladdin. And so Cornelia and I got together, and that starts a journey from the book, and now even just times 10 the movie, because Roger. Let's have a hand for this guy. He just pushed it. Pushed the movie.
It was important for me to tell the story from the inside looking out, from Owen's world. That we come into Owen's world and we see the world through Owen's eyes, and we see what a rich, beautiful world it is, not from the outside looking in, which is the way you see most films about whether people living with autism or so. That was really the goal.
And can we talk about Disney? Because Disney is an iconic, multinational brand.
Right.
And were they involved from the beginning, or was this something you had to present to them as a finished product and hope they would allow you to include clips, or how did you handle that and navigate that, or was it just easy?
I'll go first and I'll throw it to you. Okay, the book was published, my book, Wife Anime, was published by a Disney publisher. Because my agent, Andrew Wiley, is a British guy.
He's smart.
Well, what happened was I used Simon Issues to Random House, or my publishers, for my other 5 books. But he's like, Ron, you've got a legal dilemma. I said, what's that? Every word your son speaks is licensed by a multinational company. But they can't license his speech. He's a human being. But apparently they kind of can. So, because those big swaths of dialogue and lyric, he speaks in dialogue. So I had to go to a Disney publisher. And they were great, in fact. But it started a dance between us and Disney, where Disney kind of said, look, we like to have an arm's length relationship here. So in the beginning of the book, I've got a little thing saying, Disney doesn't really touch this copy. all right? Because I can't be writing about the people who publish me. And as well, Disney's not recommending that kids with autism sit in front of their movies. This is the Suskind story. So everyone had a nice arm's length relationship. And then it moves to Roger, where they say, we like you being independent of us, and we will be supportive in a very arm's length way, which is what happens, right?
Yeah, so Carrie Putnam, who's the CEO of the Sundance Institute, Sean Bailey, the president of Disney Productions, is on the board of trustees. I'm on the alumni advisory board, and she put us together. And they were at the TED conference, and actually she said, "Sean is sitting next to me. Call me right now on my cell phone." And put him on the phone, and that was the first conversation. And then I went out to Disney, and it was really intimidating because I went to the seven dwarfs building. It's like it's the corporate headquarters, and it's like
there's a giant building held up by 7 dwarves.
in stone. And I had to, and Sean sort of, I went into his very intimidating office, and he leaned over and he said, why should I give you the keys to the kingdom? And he didn't say those exact words, but pretty much. Why you? And I made a good argument, but then I had to go with my producer Julie Goldman, and we presented to all the heads of all the departments of Disney, Disney Animation, Disney Legal, Disney Marketing, and we showed them clips of Disney Club and Owen, and I was shaking.
That was crucial, the Disney Club, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was shaking, and I was a wreck, and by the time the lights came up and I finished my presentation, they were all in tears.
No. Look, it's one thing to have lyrics and dialogue in a book. It's another thing to have the actual holy writ of the classic clips. And that's what Roger and Julie managed, which was an amazing feat. Julie Goldman, the producer, an amazing feat. And Disney was very deft. They were very smart. I mean, they kind of said, look, we know the book and we know what's up here, and we are okay with being interpreted through the eyes of this guy, this kid, which was a great leap in a way, showing their confidence in a way that we will be seen for who we are through him. That we are willing that to him, which I think is lovely.
Okay. There's a question all the way back. Yeah, yes, go ahead.
For an average person, it can be challenging to be followed around by a camera crew and have your every move watched. So I'm wondering, what was your approach with filming Owen in what seemed like very intimate moments, like his first day at the assisted living facility and that kind of stuff? Like, what was your approach, and did you feel like you were impacting the narrative at all by being there physically?
So I think everyone heard that was what's the approach of filming, because it probably did affect him in terms of how he acted, and how do you sort of just
the so-called Heisenberg uncertainty dilemma.
Yeah. So how were you in the shadows or working?
So Owen lives in the moment. So he's never he doesn't pay attention to the camera. So, Tom Bergman, our cinematographer, he was sort of became part of the family, right? And embedded himself in the family. But
Owen gave him a sidekick identity, as he does to all loved ones.
And that first night, for example, Tom is in the corner. I left. Tom is in the corner. Owen just falls asleep with Tom filming him. Tom sneaks out, comes back before Owen wakes up in the morning, and Owen opens his eyes, and most people would be jolted by the camera. Owen completely did not completely ignored the camera, and so that was the kind of easy part. What I did. I really wanted Owen to sort of narrate this and tell his own story, and so I couldn't sit there and interview Owen, and he wouldn't look at me directly in the eyes. So what I did was I actually interviewed him on what's called an Interrotron. Yes. So it's a camera behind a television screen. So I'm in another room, and Owen spent his life looking at a television screen. So he's looking at me on a television screen, and he's in a sense looking at the audience directly. And then I would play Disney clips on the screen in between questions, and he would interact with those clips. And in a sense, you are inside the Disney movie, and you're inside his head.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, Errol Morris invented the Interrotron, but I don't think he ever would have imagined what Roger did with it, because it's astonishing.
You should see it.
I'll win the front.
How is Owen doing now? What's he up to? And with his job and, you know, how he coped with his breaking up with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So the question is about how is Owen doing now since the film's been done, and how is he coping with the breakup with his girlfriend, and is that what's going on now with him?
Yeah, well, so he's doing great now. He's turned 25. He is, as you see him at the end of the movie for the most part. So he's at a place called Life, living independently forever on Cape Cod. He's got a couple jobs at the Regal Cinemas, one of them, which is a great job for him. You know, I mean, he remembers every time he's ever been to a movie theater. There are hundreds of them. Who came, what day it was, what viewing it was, The Beauty and the Beast, all of it. So this is like being in the temple of cinema. He loves that. And he works at Toys R Us. He works at the Katuitt Center for the Arts. He shows kids how to draw. He's a terrific drawer. He's a terrific artist. And he's had a couple gallery shows, which is pretty cool. You know, he draws these splashes, kind of Warholian splashes of the Disney iconic characters, because he feels more than the animators in a way. He's lived inside of them for so many years, and as Owen says, now they live in me. And he's good. You know, like what happened in real life is that he breaks up with Emily, which is something that we were like, oh God, when it was happening. But then, you know, we kind of jumped outside of ourselves when we sort of later talked to Roger. You know, this is what narrative is made of, challenge. You know, I know this as a writer, but I couldn't really think about that in terms of my son, or Walter, or Cornelia. And then he got back together with Emily after the movie, and then they broke up again. So that's done now. But you know, he really wanted to remain friends, and he feels very proud that they have remained friends. She still lives above him. I know. And during the filming, you know, he's literally looking up at the ceiling, and you can hear her footsteps.
It was really tough for him, and you know, to see him in pain, pacing around, going to the door when to see if she was coming down the steps, like it was, he really had a rough.
This is like relationship Guantanamo, is what it was. So, but interestingly, he has moved past it, and he's now into this next chapter of his life, and he loves this. You know, he's going from Sundance to festival after festival, and he just seems to grow every passing day. I mean, you know,
he thrives in front of an audience, and he had to take a break, so he couldn't come to here, unfortunately. But he really thrives, and he loves calling on people and controlling the Q&A, and he loves doing voices for the audience. And you know, we had this really powerful moment at Full Frame where a young girl with autism stood up and she said, "You're my hero because you're speaking for my community who has been voiceless." And it was such just a powerful moment. And then after she said that, our EP, Molly Thompson, ran after her and said, "Are you available?"
Owen is searching for the next girlfriend.
He announces at every screening that he's looking for a girlfriend. If anyone knows who
In a way, you know, it's amazing. He speaks things that we all think but never say. That's the beauty of it. He can only tell the truth. So now he knows what love's about. Okay, now he knows. So he's like, God, how can I live without this? You know, when is the next girlfriend going to be here? So he goes out and he says, you know, I'm looking for a girl who's gentle and kind, and he kind of goes through a list. Horseback riding would be nice.
Who loves Disney animated films and Disney Pixar.
From a good family. I mean, he just sort of goes through it. It's really quite a thing. And it's amazing, you know, like Roger and I are guys we've been in public for a while. Roger's a filmmaker, me is my books and journalism. But when we go with Owen and Cornelia and Walter, it's literally like we kind of carry Owen's bags into the room, which is so joyous for everyone. Because Owen, everyone just wants Owen.
Rockstar reception.
And you know, and it's amazing the things he says. You know, like we do a perceptual thing as so-called neurotypicals, where we have a perceptual screen. So I'm looking at you and I'm filtering out that. But when Owen's in a theater like this, he sees. You know, if we have 400 people, he's seeing 800 eyes at the same time. That's autism. They see reality more fully than we do. You know that.
Yeah.
And so when he feels that intensity of all the eyes, and because he is so sort of free of the burdens that encumber most of us, he literally is lifted by it. He feels the love and the intensity, and he just wants to send it back. So he's having a terrific year.
Yes.
You can definitely tell that from his speech in Paris. That was,
yeah.
He definitely loved the audience. It was
Were
pretty
people
funny.
literally holding their breath when we stopped for the 45 seconds? Because we were literally going to pass out in another 10 seconds.
In the middle, yes. Go ahead.
Easy question for Ron. What got you through those really dark times when you wouldn't talk, you didn't know what was going to happen? What were your resources?
So the question is for Ron, what got you through those really dark times when you wouldn't talk and you couldn't communicate to him? How did you deal with that?
That's a good question. I mean, what would be the thing more than others? I think it was Cornelia, pretty much. We turned to each other. We always were a great couple. Everyone, oh, Ron and Cornelia. But then, we left the planet normal. And we went to a place where we didn't want to tell our friends about what was happening in our house, and even our dearest friends. Because we kind of didn't want them to see Owen differently, I guess. Not that they didn't. But, it's like, let's just sort of keep that behind the door. And so it was really the two of us. And look, when this happens, couples tend to either break apart or really hold tight and grow closer. And that's what happened. And in a way, what's extraordinary is that Owen ultimately creates this narrative in a response to the challenges that he faces, the sidekicks narrative. And you'll read this at the end of the book, Life Animated. It's 2,000 words that he wrote. And it's like that, there's a great line, Neil Gaiman, who's a great artist, theater guy from England. He says, when life throws at you what you can't bear, make good art, that's what he says. And then Owen does that. He makes good art. And then we live inside of that art, as we all do inside of stories and great art. So we become sidekicks, searching for our inner heroes, which is Owen's parlance. And that's what Cornelia and I become. Sidekicks there to help others fulfill their destiny, which is the holy job of the sidekick, which is beautiful. And Owen believes we're all really sidekicks, searching for our inner hero. That's who we really are. And at our best, we find that inner hero when we help others fulfill their destiny. It's a beautiful inversion of the traditional narrative arc of the hero being identified early and everyone getting on right on the sidekick. So it means that heroism in this way is a choice. You make every morning. And that's the choice we were making. Because he forced us to, he made us better. So that's how we got through those times. That's what happened.
So I think we're running out of time. I have one sort of trivial question I want to ask, because you watched all the movies he's watching, he's still watching them on VHS. He's still watching them on VHS?
Yeah.
And so no DVD or Blu-ray or...
No, he's gone to some VHS. I mean, he loves the VHS, or a DVD. He loves the VHS because you can stop it by the frame. That's why we learned to talk and learned to read, because you can... so he get it just precisely. And we literally watch him in front of the screen moving his mouth. So he has a holy writ of VHS tapes, because he knows they run out because they deteriorate. So he's got like 4 Beauty and the Beast, 5 Lion Kings. And so Owen's joy is he goes to Goodwill. And for $1 or whatever, he buys all the VHS tapes. And that's his joy.
And the soundtrack in the movie is the sound of VHS fast forwarding and rewinding with this brilliant electronic music genius, 23-year-old kid from Portland, Dylan Stark. who used Owen's self-talking, the sound of VHS, to create this musical sort of language. It was genius. And we spent 2 glorious weeks at Skywalker Ranch working with the best, the people who mixed, Jurassic World, creating a soundscape for the film.
Can I finish with an Owen line?
Yes, you can, yes.
I'm going to finish with an Owen line. I talked to Owen a few hours ago. He's back at home in Cape Cod. And he said, I feel bad that I'm not with you in Seattle. But Dad, would you do the Merlin thing? Okay, so I said, I'm going to try it. This is what Owen sometimes does to end shows. So I'm going to give it a shot here. It's not like Owen, but it's, it's pretty close. So this is from Sword in the Stone, which is a big movie for us, 1963, Disney. You may not remember this one. Arthur and Merlin, classic narrative. And there's a moment where Arthur learns about the mysteries of life. And Merlin, as his teacher and guide, tries to explain to him what's really happening. And Merlin says, and Owen loves this one, he says, boy, this love business is a powerful thing. And Arthur says, greater than gravity? And Merlin says, yes, my boy. I believe it's the most powerful force on earth. And then Owen says, I feel love in this room. And I just want to tell you, I want this love to spread around the world. So that is a message from our hero, a sidekick who found his inner hero, our guy Owen. So, thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Ron.
We open in theaters July 1st in New York and LA, and July 8th here and around the country. Spread the word.
Spread the word.
You'll be seeing it here at SIFF Cinema. So tell your friends, open in July, it'll be here at the SIFF Cinema part of the week. Thank you.